Uh, hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the BA Zone's pre-show. We're going to be getting going here in just about 5 minutes. Hope everybody's having a great week so far and a great night. Tonight we're going to be talking about dashboards, so stick around for that. But let's really talk about what's on everybody's mind today, and that would be taxes. Oh, God, the taxes. Oh, the insanity of it all. Yes, taxes are coming up due. As a matter of fact, when I get off the show tonight, I will be going through the myriad checkbook and all that other fun stuff, looking for any way that I can to, alleviate some of those taxes. Now, what would have been really nice had they legalized recreational marijuana in the state would have made paying those taxes far easier. But that seems to be postponed at the moment. I don't know that I need any to begin with because I'm a little wacky as it is. But yeah, so tax time. Let me know how you guys are doing with tax time. I mean, I don't do my own taxes. I know a lot of people do. Actually, my own kids do their own taxes, but I've always sent mine out. I'm curious as to how many people actually do their own taxes because I don't know if it sounds like it's far more difficult to do. I've never done them, but I don't know. It's just all that taxes. It's Mama needs new shoes, but Mama's got to pay for taxes. Anyway, so that's what it goes. You got a job, you pay taxes. I guess it beats the alternative of not having a job. So there you go. Okay, folks, we've got 3 minutes before we go live. Take a little sippy poo. Oh, dashboards, and dashboards reporting. An interesting topic. A lot of places that we start working in, one of the first things we do is we try to pull a dashboard together because it is so much helpful. And for clients, it's almost imperative. If you give a client a dashboard, you answer just about every question they may bug you with for the next 2 years. Until they decide to change their strategies or their goals. But it's a lot of fun to work to create a dashboard. If you've never done it, stick around, and we'll talk about some of the differences between that reporting and the nuances. I also Kathleen, are you sending me a message? Did my windows get in? Yes. We're going off topic for a minute. Yeah, I did. I had windows. It seems like every 20 years you have to kind of do something in a house. 20 years ago, I had windows put in and they were practically, I guess they were really not good windows. So we did have someone come yesterday and do 6 windows up here on the second floor. And they did a fantastic job, I got to say. So hopefully they won't leak anymore, because the other night when that wind was blowing, those curtains were like in a horizontal. Instead of being vertical, they were definitely horizontal. And Kathleen's going to bust me because of my ghost hands are up. Maybe they're not too ghosty. They don't look, yeah, they're ghosty. Yeah. Need to get a tan, need to get out somewhere and relax. Okay, we have 1 minute to go before we go live. So, again, if you have any comments or questions during the show, jump right in. And I hope tonight's going well for you. I hope the rest of the week will go great for you too. All righty. Let's see, just checking the out. Have we got everything ready to go, Kath? I think so. Kathleen's blowing through the messages at the bottom of the screen, making sure everything works. All right, everybody, go get your cup of tea. You've got probably less than a minute. Kathleen's all set. And it is 8 o'clock and it is go live time. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BA Zone's live show. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the benefits of creating and using data dashboards, when to use them, and the questions you need to ask in order to create one. So I'm Marianne Morrison, and Kathleen Sinnott is behind the scenes in the production booth, and together we are the BA Zone. If you have any questions or comments, during tonight's show, or you just feel like chatting with us, don't be shy. Just jump right in. Everybody is welcome. Okay. So make yourself comfortable, relax, open up your mind, and Kathleen will play us a little tune to get us in the mood. Go ahead, Kath. Sometimes I just want more of that. Okay. So we're going to be talking about dashboards tonight, data dashboards particularly. Data drives an organization today. Insight into how your company is performing at any point in time allows management at all levels to define their strategy, set achievable goals, and be responsive to customer needs and succeed in the marketplace. Obtaining and sharing that rich information, has typically been generated by creating reports and or dashboards, or what we call data dashboards. Both are really useful tools, depending on your circumstances or how they're being used. But dashboards overall are really by far more flexible, and they provide that user self-service that everyone is looking for today in order to reduce costs. So let's just review the difference or some of the subtleties between reports and dashboards. So reports are typically, individual static documents that provide a point in time or a snapshot view of data, and it's usually displayed in a predefined order or presentation. Static and point in time are the key words here when we're talking about reports. It's not live data. It's not real time data. So the data that you're looking at in a report could potentially be updated minutes later, but you're still looking at the report. So you're really looking at historical data now. And you may or may not be able to take action on that anymore. Because reports are individual in nature, if you want to do any type of comparative analysis, you have to manually review them and you have to correlate data by hand from all these different reports. And this can be really time consuming, and it takes up resources, and it also has a higher margin of error in that you could misinterpret the data. So this can also be misinterpreted by many people. And typically what happens is someone will look at a report and go, yeah, I don't think that's exactly what I need. What do? They request another report. And when people request multiple reports, a lot of times they may be comparing things incorrectly. They request a report, they think they know what they're looking for, but in effect, what they may be doing is what we call comparing apples to oranges instead of apples to apples. So there's a lot of misinterpretation that can happen with reports and the requesting of reports and building them. Dashboards, or the data dashboard, it sort of aggregates all key relevant data from multiple sources, and it dynamically presents that data in real time or near real time. And typically it uses one interactive screen that's designed to enable someone to view key data at a glance and act on that data if they need to. It provides a big picture of what's going on in a way that everybody can understand, with that ability to dig deeper and find out why something is happening, right? So if you've never seen a data dashboard, this is sort of an analogy everybody uses. Just think of your car dashboard, hence the name dashboard. It provides you with key information in order to drive, right? So how fast are you going? How much fuel do you still have? Does your oil need to be changed? What direction are you going in, northeast, south, southwest? What's your tire pressure? They even have these, my car doesn't have it, but they have these onboard backup cameras. So it even beeps when you're about to run over someone. Not that that's ever happened to me in any way, shape, or form, but I digress. So the dashboard in the back end is connecting a lot of uh, different features and mechanics within the car. And it displays all of that relevant data so that you can easily understand it and act on it. And that's what a data dashboard does with data, not your car, but with your data. Again, key points: reports are static point in time view, and dashboards are dynamic and in real time. So if you truly want to be competitive or responsive to customer needs, manage towards your goals, or maybe you're a small or mid-sized company that can't afford a data analytics team or developers that can, quickly create these reports, then dashboards will provide that edge that you need to succeed. So let's take a look at some other benefits of dashboard. So in addition to providing data in real time, dashboards help measure performance and they drive business strategy. How do they do that? Well, first of all, they provide a visibility into the data and what's going on. They call it business intelligence, not an oxymoron, but it's insights into, how the company is performing, how the customer is behaving. Um, and it's necessary in order to optimize planning and performance to keep, again, that competitive edge. So that visibility gives a broader access for everyone. It creates a common language and makes goals clearly understandable and visible by everyone. So there's no more saying that, well, I didn't know that, or I didn't know where we were with that, because that data dashboard provides that visibility. Okay. Um, Data dashboards also make monitoring very easy. So at a glance, you can rapidly assess and rapidly respond to any type of issues that happen at any given time. Are you hitting your targets? Are you hitting your goals that you set for the month, the quarter, the year? Uh, are you having other feeds coming in to do some comparative analysis? Maybe you're getting your stock market price from a different feed coming in, as well as your internal data. So it's at an operational level and an executive level. It's at a glance, that big picture view and that ability to drill down to manage against your goals and your strategies. How am I doing? How's the customer doing? The customer always wants to know how they're doing. They have pretty much terrible data analytics as well. So if you could provide them with the data analytics, it's a win-win. They are thrilled. Another thing, a benefit of dashboards is that they're interactive. Again, we talk about this self-service. Companies, smaller companies, mid-sized companies, even big companies, the expense of responding to the needs of customers and even in your internal folks to get information is costly. But if you can provide self-service where they can go in and get this information themselves, for example, if you're providing to a client a service or a program or a product, give them a view into their data. This is a powerful benefit to your customers. And they don't have to, they can slice and dice and drill down on all the details without ever calling up and asking, I need a report. I need somebody to run me a report. I need a database guy to generate something. Dashboards can be designed to be really flexible. They can allow graphics, charts, tables, grids, and they can be movable. They can be printable. Things that reports can't do because, again, they're static documents. You can print, you can download, you can email, you can share a dashboard. So it's that interactive quality that's really it makes it a powerful tool. Also, scalability. The bigger you get as a company, you cannot keep up with the requests that are coming in to get that information. So solve that problem right up front if you can, and give them a data dashboard. And you can scale very easily then without adding additional resources or additional cost. Dashboards can be made to be actionable. So what do I mean by actionable? You can allow or have them designed, I should say, to set up, messaging or notifications or alerts, that are triggered and displayed to users based on data changes, parameters, and thresholds. Um, you know, uh, it makes for a faster management response and turnaround time to make decisions to address or correct issues or change a direction or a course of action. You can add functionality that lets you address issues right from that dashboard if you wanted to. So, for example, if you had a call center, and we'll use call center as an example tonight, but you can correlate this to any type of business. But say you had an irate customer, and whether they're right or wrong, right from a dashboard, you can say, well, we've had 5 irate customers, and they were irate or something about this, and you can just click a button that says, you know what, let's send them a $50 gift card. Click a button, problem taken care of. We have all the information on the back end, so you can make dashboards actionable, at least display to users when something's out of whack with an alert or a messaging, and then on the higher end, enable them to do something like the $50 gift card. Dashboards also, they sort of help with competition, collaboration, and compliance. So at an operational level, if you can see how you are performing as an employee against how your coworkers are performing, it can create that healthy competition. It helps to create that sort of goal-driven atmosphere, or it can enforce compliance. Somebody's not doing something correctly. Okay, it's right here. You can see it. I can remember years ago, at a company I worked for, they used to put up, big whiteboards, and they would draw the lines and say, this is where we are, this is where we need to be. And yay, today we, erase the number and we change it. Well, today, all of that can be done on dashboards, using these big TVs, these wallboard TVs. They have them in corporate offices now, and they can display that. And it does, people look up at that and they do get that sort of, oh, let's go for a goal. It's sort of that everybody's a little bit competitive somewhere. And it also helps for collaborations with teams who are trying to achieve a particular goal. So, dashboards have that going for them. So it's really important when you're creating a dashboard to make sure that everybody has access to it, typically, web-based, right? So and it can be role-based. So there's different levels or different views of the dashboard, depending on whether you're an executive or whether you're in a call center. But you don't want that dashboard to just be with the decision makers on somebody's hard drive, because that doesn't it doesn't you can do it, but it's not going to have the same impact as if everyone has access to it. So just make it available to everyone. So, and while we're talking about that, I've been talking like a storm for 14 minutes. So let's take a little break, since we're talking about making everything available to everyone, and take a minute to welcome all of our newcomers to our community, which is growing every week. We want to invite everyone to sign up for the mailing list so that you can be the first to find out about upcoming events or classes or free stuff. We collect minimal information. We don't do anything with that information other than share information with you folks. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the little bell icon, and you'll get notified when we go live. Every little bit helps, so that we can continue to bring you this type of content. So join our community and help us make it a place where we can all share our experiences and give each other a hand, because that's what it is all about in life and in work. Okay. So we're talking about dashboards now. How do you know when to choose a dashboard or reports, or do you use both? So some of the key indicators that you might need a dashboard, like you might need an operation if, you might be a redneck if, well, you might need a dashboard if you have no one to create reports, no developers. You may have multiple requests for reports on a daily or weekly basis. I mean, if you keep seeing these reports coming in, all different types, everybody wants one. Um, that could be a key indicator. If you have so many reports that no one knows which report to use, and there's uncertainty as to whether any of those reports are correct, you might need a dashboard. Timeliness of information, that's the key one. Does the user need a quick turnaround time to understand data? And from an approach of, is this working for my program? Is it not working for my program? How do I quickly respond, change my tactics, change my strategy? If you need that without having to, print several reports or do an analysis of the data, all without having a nervous breakdown. If yes, it's probably time for a data dashboard. So those are some of the indicators that you need a dashboard. When you decide you need a dashboard, how do you go about creating the documents for the data dashboard? Whether you're going to buy a dashboard application or create the requirements to build one, there are questions that you're going to need to ask and document. So the first set of questions is all around defining what are the strategies and priorities of the company. So what's the strategy? What are their objectives? What are their goals? What are their priorities? How is the company as a whole and within the different areas performing towards those goals? How do they know they're reaching those goals? What are the broad metrics? So performance and progress can be managed and reported against, and it's actionable. So that's the highest level. You need to start listing those out. From there, once you have that broad, this is what we do, this is what we're trying to do, you want to identify the KPIs, the key performance indicators. What information do you need in order to measure your success toward the goals? And again, look at all the areas, identify the key performance area indicators for each area or department. What is the critical information, the metrics that you need to keep an eye on? If it's calculated, where are those calculations coming from, or what are they? This is sort of that forming stage when you're going out and you're sort of eliciting all of these measures and metrics. And most of them will be known. Maybe in a startup company, they're not known as well. But in most areas, people have an idea, of what they should be measuring. Otherwise, the business isn't going to make it very far. So in that sort of forming stage, you can list everything. List every type of metric that you can think of for every department, because then you're going to take it and you're going to bring it down to the key performance indicators. What are keep it around between 10 and 20, less, 10, 12, 20. What are those key indicators from each department or area? Once you have that down, you want to start listing out what is the supporting or related information. What information can someone drill down into? This is the drill down into information that will help them understand and identify what proactive or corrective action they need to take if one of these key metrics isn't being met. These are, as opposed to the KPIs, which are sort of the broad metrics, these are the more narrow metrics. So if we go to the example of a call center, let's say that the strategy is to increase the revenue by 7%. And a key metric for that would be a sip of water and to increase customer engagement. So if they want to increase customer engagement by a certain percentage to hit that revenue mark of 7%, what are they going to track? So they could track the number of outgoing calls, the outgoing call campaign. What region is it? What socioeconomic area are they dealing with? What day of the week is it? What time of the day is it? Using what campaign or script are they using? And out of those outbound calls, how many are actually answered? How many are hung up? How many are abandoned calls? What's the abandonment rate? At what point of time in the script are we losing them in that abandonment rate? How many are invalid phone numbers? How many are successful calls? How many messages did you leave? How many callbacks did you get from those messages? Did it result in any type of success? So make sure when you're going through these narrow metrics that it's within context and that it's clear enough and straightforward enough, that the data cannot be misinterpreted. Okay. And then you want to identify the sources of all this data. Where is it coming from? Is it a dialer system that's pulling this information in? Is, God forbid, it's being entered by someone? You never want to do that. But those are some of those narrow metrics. So what are the narrow metrics? And again, by department, especially when you're at the operational level, because this is going to show you your progress against goals and what you need to do if you're not meeting those goals. Next, you want to define how many views will you need? How many different people? Maybe it's controlled by their roles or their logins or permissions. But how many views? How many different people are going to be looking at this? Typically, you will have in a dashboard an executive summary, an executive view. The company's performance at that high level executive, the operational level, and that could be broken down across multiple departments. You might have a marketing view, a sales view, finance view, research and development, client or customer views. Just try to identify who should see the data, how they should see that data, and try to get that documented, because that's going to drive a lot of the metrics and the different type of views that you're going to need to see. And lastly, and there's other things too, but I'm going over the really high level things for the dashboard. What features for your business would need to be included in the dashboard? So you're going to have charts and graphs and tables and grids. And will those tables and grids will you be able to filter them, sort them? Will you have a column selector? Will you have personalized views? Can you have drill down capability into deeper supporting level data? Is all this information, can it be movable on the screen, or is it sort of set there in a fixed type of layout or movable panels? What is the look back period? Is this data going to be daily data, month data, quarter, year data, first year, second year? Are you going to be able to comparatively look at data? Do you need to compare this month to last month, this year to last year, this campaign to the previous campaign, one program to another, forecasted versus actual revenue or income, maybe distributions of a product across markets or regions? So what type of capability do you need in that sort of comparative view? Do you need email, download, printing, sharing capability? Will you need to be able to set minimum and maximum thresholds that can auto trigger that alert or that message? Do they want to use some type of icons or symbols to indicate or flag that something's changed? Maybe, sales are up with an up arrow, sales are down with a down arrow. Is there anything that's going to be actionable, like sending that person that free gift card, or tagging a piece of data, adding comments to data, etc.? Are you going to need help text to help users understand, calculations? They should be able to understand the data as it's presented, but they may want to look into how something was calculated. Do you need to show that actual calculation in the form of help text or help content. And again, messaging alerts and email, etc. So those are sort of the higher level questions, and to start getting you down the path of what you need to understand if you're moving towards creating a dashboard, and what type of features and things might be included. So before we, so that's pretty much it for tonight. But before we wrap up, let's just see if Kathleen can put up that slide. Gotta stop saying that. Put up that slide to show us where you can contact us. We're available everywhere. You can get us at thebazone.com. And again, if you're watching this on a replay, feel free to ask us any comments or questions. We get a lot of those because folks are watching us on YouTube after the fact. So, you can just go to the BA Zone or Twitter or Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, and we'll be happy to answer any comments or questions or suggestions that you have for future shows, because we get a lot of our material from the information that you folks send us. Okay. So to wrap up for tonight's show, whether you're using reports or a dashboard, remember the information is great. Information that's timely is fantastic, but it's what you ultimately do with that information that will make a difference. So make sure there's a plan, because once you get all this information, you've got to do something with it. So have a plan for that. And we hope you'll do something with this information tonight. If your company doesn't have a dashboard, just as an exercise, if you've never done this before, see if you can identify the key performance indicators, the KPIs, or the metrics for each area of the business that you work in. It's great practice, and who knows, it might give you the information to make a timely decision as whether to create a dashboard or suggest that you create or obtain a dashboard and customize it. So good luck with that. And thanks for joining us tonight. That's all we have for tonight. Thanks for coming by, everyone. And have a great week. Have a great night. And take care of yourself. We'll see you next week on the BA Zone. Take care, everybody.